All right. Hi, guys. Welcome back to Enriching Evenings. I'm Melanie Canatella. I'm a professional behavioralist and trainer. And Enriching Evenings is a place where we can all gather and we can learn about different enriching exercises and different activities that we can give our birds. So it gives ideas, it shares free ideas every single week with different topics, as well as it gives you a place to come and do enrichment and do it for your bird. So it kind of carves out some time in order to do this because I know everyone is just so busy. And enrichment is usually the first thing that goes in that list. Tonight is chaotic. Chaotic. You can see I have a second camera view, which is wild right now. Um, so we're going to have a little bit of technical figuring out together, and I'll appreciate your understanding and patience with that. I thought of this because we are going to be making some stuff together, and I know that I have future ideas that I want to do as well with this. So I was like, we have to test it out. So here's a really good time to test it out on tonight's meeting. So we're going to be working on inexpensive enrichment items and ideas. And I have to say, I went out to my Dollar Tree and like Five Below and stuff like that because usually they have some stuff that can be really nice. It's like we talked about last week, it can be 50-50 if it's safe or not for parrots, because a lot of that stuff does come from overseas with questionable assembly just because it's not designed for animals and enrichment. So it's always a little bit hit or miss, as well as your comfortability with what I show here as well. So everyone kind of has their own thoughts and feelings about specific things. I also have my own. And so I'm just going to share what I do and some other ideas. I don't have quite as much as I would have hoped variety wise because there just wasn't a whole lot, at least when I went out. I think I was in between stock days because it did seem a bit sparse. But we have some ideas, and the great thing about Enriching Evenings is we can continue this conversation as long as you guys are interested in it. So, though this week is focused on inexpensive enrichment ideas, we can talk about other inexpensive enrichment ideas under the other categories that we have for the other weeks. So super, super exciting. We're going to just get to what we have here, which is chaotic, and we'll see how far we get because I know I've used a lot of ideas and if needed, and I hate doing this, I'll edit this and I can put up some photos and videos of what I was talking about, or we can connect my third computer and we can watch it off the hard drive, which is ridiculous. We'll do it. It's ridiculous that I will have three Melanies in this call as well as all the participants. So thank you so much for coming out. This is our best turnout so far, which is awesome, which just kind of communicates to me through your behaviors that this is a topic that people are interested in, especially in today's economy. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of get started with some things that I think I can do here, and then we'll move over to the second table and we'll kind of work through it. And hopefully by then I'll have whatever this mess is all around me organized. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to get started talking about PVC only because it's literally right here in front of me. There's no rhyme or reason to this. I really enjoy using PVC for a lot of my parrots. Now, if I see the birds really chewing at the PVC and doing stuff like that, even if they're not ingesting it, I'm not going to continue to allow them to have that because there is a potential risk. However, if your bird is using it appropriately, then they're using it appropriately. The first one that I want to talk about, and I've had this since 2018. This is what it looks like. I give it to my birds all the time, and I love this thing so much. I made it. If you can't tell by the wonky holes, I made it. It's actually one of my very first PVC enrichment items that I did make, and I learned a lot from it. So when working with PVC, if you are cutting, if you are drilling, if you are doing any of that, you're going to want to wait about a week or so for it to kind of gas off. I don't know what that means. I'll be straight up. I was told that all that time ago, and I just follow it. I'm like, yeah, sure, that makes sense. Whatever. I don't use any glue though. I'm sure you could, because in theory, if you put the glue somewhere that the parrot cannot access, it doesn't drip down or anything, then it's safe as long as it's completely cured, and it also rates that it is doesn't let off any gases or anything once when it is cured, which most glues to my knowledge are like that. But I don't glue anything. I don't have time for that. We're on a budget, okay? So forgive me, I don't know what these are. This is 2-inch PVC tubing that I cut. Um, I used a drill bit to, I think this is probably an inch, maybe half an inch. Don't quote me. Um, I used it, and then what I did was I took my Dremel on a sandpaper bit, whatever that is, and I just kind of smoothed out the holes when I did that because again, I really was learning and these were quite rough. Um, the up top here, this came as like a set. And what it does is this one is screwed on like really tight, so I can't we access this bottom one. And all it does is screw off. This is all that it is. I take a picture of it. Go to Home Depot, play the dumb girl card, play the dumb boy card, play the dumb card. They'll help you. Um, that's my favorite thing to do. I know Home Depot and I know what I'm doing, but man, if I just don't feel like it, I'm like, excuse me. And then I have the stainless steel eye hook and a stainless steel carabiner, a D-link up here that has been on there forever. I like stainless steel. I will splurge for stainless steel compared to galvanized, and you never want to give zinc plated. So we go a little bougie for that. And this thing is so versatile. So you can, of course, adjust the holes if you're making this yourself to whatever size that you want and need. And this is lovely because it fits like everything inside of it. Probably put it in this way and it will go in. Oh, we need this. Okay, we broke it a little bit, but that's okay. It really holds everything quite nicely that you would want to put in there. And this is what I usually do because girl don't got time. So I'll go ahead and I'll grab some handy dandy paper. And I have scissors, but we don't, this is for birds. We don't have time for scissors. And I'm just gonna grab some strips of paper. The paper that I buy is from Uline. It's their big rolls of craft paper. And I've been buying them for a long time, but shipping right now for them, I'm so glad that I don't have to line as much cages as I used to in my old place, because it's expensive. And what I'll do is I'll take a whole big wad of paper and I'm just using Nutriberries because that's right here on top. I'll grab it and crinkle it up. I need to shove it in. The next one, I'm just going to put the paper in. And I'm loading it really loosely so it's not compact and it's easy for them to pull it out. I have in the past overpacked these and the birds were not as engaging in them. I think it was just a little too challenging. And I'm just going to take the third one and I will put a Nutriberry in this one as well. And go ahead and put her on in. And what I'll do is take the holes and kind of massage the paper up and around. So then it kind of offers more variety for my birds. Go ahead and twist the bottom on. And if you're thinking to yourself, my bird will just untwist that, it's okay, baby. That's enrichment. That's enrichment. We can put an assignment and activity in their environment and have a desired outcome. But at the end of the day, they decide what is enriching for them and they decide how they want to interact with the item. So I'm fine with stuff like that. And what I'll do to kind of entice my birds is I'll go ahead right in one hole and kind of shove it to the side so they can definitely see it. And what this does is it signals to the bird that there is food inside. You could do this for all of this. You could put straight millet strands in there. And I learned from our first one, I don't think I'm bringing millet back. I don't think I'm bringing millet back. That was really messy. But you can do this. I've put bamboo in here, like the leaves and stuff, and other browse and all. I've done just toy parts, little pieces of cardboard, the paper towel tubing and stuff like that. Everything goes in here. This is like a different form of baffle cage that's a lot more challenging because you have smaller holes. It's more opaque. They can't see through it. So what I would do if you're just starting out with this is hide the treats very obviously. You can put some in the paper, but they probably might not get it depending on their foraging skill set. And over time, decrease the amount that are visible and hide them more, so they have to work a bit more for it. So this is the first one. Is just this PVC tube. It ain't nothing fancy. I made it, and it's very inexpensive, and it lasts as long as your bird isn't like chewing at it and stuff. So that's the first one that we got through. Staying on PVC, this is going to kind of be my last little PVC thing because I know some people really aren't into it. I just really am. So here we go. And I forgot a skewer. I have one, but it's currently occupied. That's okay. We'll use paper twist rope. So yeah, I have it. I told you I have a lot going on here. It's gonna be like Mary Poppins bag, like so much stuff. Or is that Nanny McPhee? It's one of the two. I can't remember. Um, anyway, I really like to use PVC end caps. I drilled a little hole in them, and what I like to do is the bigger ones are going to be generally easier foraging skill wise compared to the smaller ones. But I use both, and I use them both in different ways. So I also will use, this is 1/2 inch PVC tubing, and I like to use it as spacers, as well as increasing the complexity. So here's a few things that I'll do, and at the end I'll decide and make one, so I can give it to my birds. And I like putting them on skewers because then I can throw this whole thing in the dishwasher nice and easy. And I don't have to constantly keep setting it up. So what I'll do, and I'm starting at the bottom here because of how I have to display this. What I'll do is I'll take a big PVC cup and I'll just start with this and throw it in their cage for them to be able to get the food out of. And then if I wanted to start to stack them, I'm going to use a spacer and then I'm going to add maybe a small PVC cup to the top. Okay, so that it's going to look something along the lines of this. And so what we have here is increasing complexity. We have a smaller, oh my God, this is so challenging. We have a smaller PVC cup right there on top that the complexity that we're increasing is the challenge of getting it out of the cup. It's generally easy, but it is more challenging. And then we have blocking most of the inside of this PVC cup, and this is horrible angles. The 1/2 inch PVC tubing. But what this also can do, maybe if I could just do something like this. What this can also do is if we put a bigger one on top, right? It will disallow the bigger one to go on top of that. And so the bigger one increases complexity in different ways because now you have this big thing blocking your bird's ability to get the food underneath. And what it does is it helps hold the weight, if that makes sense. What you can also do is hide stuff in the center. I forgot to mention that. I will do that all the time. And I'll usually have it poking out a little bit like the coin wrappers, and I'll show you that in our final example. Because if we were also just going to build this, I shouldn't put that there. We could just use, like I should have brought 3. I almost brought 3, but I only brought 2. We'll get the idea. If we stack these little cups, right, our smaller birds, our conures and stuff, they might struggle with this weight a little bit. But if we put this in a macaw, cockatoo, Amazon cage, they can lift this. All right, so this is complex because they have to lift it in order to get in here. But because it's hanging, it's going to constantly keep falling. So they have to figure out a way to keep it upright. Now, if your bird is kind of struggling with that, that's when I would put in a smaller diameter. I only have 1/2 inch PVC tubing in order to create that space. and that way they can still get to it. But this is generally what I like to do with them. And I'll make one real quick right now because I am making stuff for my own birds. This is going in their cages tomorrow morning because I have a very, very busy morning. I ain't got no time to be fooling around. All right. So I'm gonna make this. Another great thing about PVC is you can make the length of these whatever you want it to be. So you can make it so this is really short to increase those complexities, keep them closer together. All right, so we have a loop where I would put my link, my linky dink. I don't know if you just heard Mud from you just laughed at that, which is thank you. I'm just tying it off right here. I ain't doing nothing fancy. Okay, so this should be good. So much easier on a skewer. Okay, so I built this. So we have, you know, a nice, easy, little bit complex cup. We're gonna put something in the center here, and then we're gonna put things in here. So here's how I would fill this up. And I'm gonna put this aside real quick so I can focus. We can lock in. And while I get my bearings, here we are. So I'm going to start with a coin wrapper, which we talked about in where to start with Enriching Evenings. It was our very, very first episode. And I'm going to put in here, I'm going to put in there a pine nut, and I'm going to put in there 2 pellets because that's what my birds really work for, mainly are pellets at this point. And I'm going to start with this one to kind of showcase what I was talking about in the center here. I'm going to start by putting this, and I have to kind of do this down here. I'm so sorry. That's why we have another angle. We should probably get it going by now. But I'm going to have it stick out just a little bit. See? So then they can see, oh, there's some good stuff in there. Now in this one, in the skewers, I'm telling you skewers. In this one, Nutriberries are my bird's like treat, but it's a pellet. It's like a treat pellet. So I will put that one in there, and that way they can kind of see it through there. And when they do get it out, it's like, holy moly, this is awesome. Now we still have 2 other places. The very top here, this is pretty easy. I'm just going to put a pellet or 2 in there. And then the bottom one down here, this one's also a little bit easy. So I'm gonna put another 2 pellets in there. And there we go. Now we have our first little second, I guess, enrichment item, and it has quite a variety of food items showcased differently. So our birds can have what, 2, 4, 6 less pellets in their bowls and have it more in toys. 8 maybe. I forgot about these 2 in here. And they get some treats. This is going to be probably the hardest for them to get to. So they get a little pine nut in there, which is my bird's crack of choice. And then they get their little treat pellet in there. Isn't that lovely? Nice and easy. So I am going to go ahead and switch over. Let me see how I can do this. So I'm going to turn this camera on. Okay. And then I'm going to make that the host. Okay. And then we're going to, oh God. Okay. Okay, guys, we got it. We got it. Hello. All right, so I'm going to turn this camera off because now it's going to become confusing. There we go. All right, welcome. Welcome from the other angle. So that's that idea. You can kind of see the plethora of stuff I have going on over here. The next thing that I want to talk about, because they're right here on top, are little boxes, right? So I have a Kraft mac and cheese box. This is as big as a box that I like to give my birds because it can cause reproductive related behaviors if you have too big of a box and how you use it. So depending on the size of your bird, you know, you might want to go with some heart guard. Thank you, Tootsie, for your box. It all depends. And so how I kind of set these guys up is I like to include some foot toys within them. And I have some here, some variety ideas. You can go ahead and use. I'm going to show you some other ideas within this. I just want to kind of get them all over here. I'll leave that for a second. Okay. All right, so we have some ideas here that we can work with. And we're going to go ahead and grab the treats. I'm just going to keep this on my side. My tree pouch. That's what has all the bird treats in it. So I have some things that I can use here. First thing, I love the oval plastic gears. We talk about them all the time. So I'm going to go ahead and take some pellets and I'm going to go ahead and load this up real quick. And I just want to be sure that this all perfect. This all looks great. I have a second light set up over there. We're getting fancy real quick, real technical real quick. So I just have a few pellets in there. I have this special guy. I bought these because I thought, oh, maybe you can. Oh, maybe I was just drilling the wrong area. Anyway, I bought these because I know people have drilled into them. These are undrilled, and I felt it was a little unsafe what I was doing. But Jojo and Ringo love these things. So what these things can hold, though, is in the frilly bits, they can hold small pieces of nuts. I just put an almond sliver in there. This one specifically, I just noticed had some legs, and there's a hole in between the legs, which is scandalous. And you could even put things in there, but I want to go a little lighter. I'm just showing some examples. I don't love putting too much food items into one thing, but it's a give and take with these because I want to show you guys as many examples as possible. Another thing that I got, I don't know what these things are called. These are like actual children's toys. I got them off of Facebook Marketplace for free. And they just are wonderful. You can just shove food in there and it holds it. Isn't that lovely? And it's really complex to get it out because your bird has to take the hook of the bill and really pick at it to get it out. Just what we want. It takes forever. And it's really nice because when you go to sanitize these to reuse them, I just take a toothpick and I just go in between the little slats of these, and it all comes out so easy. So I have a few of these items here, right? So we're going to start with heart guard, and we're going to put some pellets in there with the gear. I'm going to put a little piece of wood because who wouldn't love that? I have these came with a package that my mom got a long time ago. I saw a crap ton of these, so I'm going to put one of those in there. There's cardboard pieces. And I'm going to put a few little pieces of applewood that I found outside that I got myself. And I'm just going to put it in there. And I'm just going to close the lid, which is not the best of the lids. And then I'm going to take some scissors and a zip tie. Scissors and a zip tie. And I'm just going to dangerously poke through. And I just guide the zip tie all the way through. I do these all the time because they're so gosh darn easy. The hardest part is getting the zip tie out on the other side, I swear. There it is. And I just close the zip tie nice and tight so my bird's toes don't get stuck into it. And then I hang it on the side of their cage like this, and it's like a little goodie box. I'm gonna chuck this into oblivion because that's where everything is going right now. So in this one, I'm going to, and you notice that with both of these, I'm putting in the food items first. I want them for my birds to be lower down in the box. So they have to fight through everything else in order to get to the food item. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a wood block, and we're going to put in our other little furry guy, and we're going to put in some other little goodies. Wonderful, wonderful. We're going to go ahead and close that lid. And again, we're just going to poke some holes in. Poke, poke. Grab a zip tie. Little zippy dippy. Everyone needs a little zippity doo dah. And go ahead and put it through. Again, this is the hardest part, especially for me. I don't know why I always struggle with this part so much. Populated, here we go. Right, and snug. And there we go. Now we have another box that can be hung for your bird. And this was going to be trashed. The cardboard was going to be trashed. I got the plastic items off of Facebook Marketplace and I sanitized them and now they're good. I did buy the little furry things for Joe and Ringo. So there's that. Nice and easy, inexpensive. I guess the next thing we're going to cover is because it's already here. And I got this at Five Below. It's just a cat scratching post. And I always talk about these. And I finally got one in order to demonstrate. Brand new. This one comes with catnip, which, if I'm remembering correctly, is safe for parrots. I'm not going to do it. I don't know where that catnip came from, right? I don't trust, right? All this is expensive corrugated cardboard. That's all this is. If you can find one cheaper, awesome. And I can't tell you how easy this is. I'm just going to, because I'm using a pellet, I'm just going to kind of make a hole a little bigger to hold the pellet. And I'm just going to shove. I'm going to grab a pine nut. Actually, I have two. We'll put two in here. 1 and 2. And what else have we got in here? Almond sliver. We don't need another pine nut. This is a little piece of walnut. This is a big piece of walnut. Sure. But I'm not going to add any more nuts and treats to this because that's quite a lot. So I'm just going to keep on shoving pellets. That's a big long one. We'll save that for any gears and stuff. We'll take the tiny, tiny ones. You staying there? Thank you. These safflower seeds might be a little small. And what I would do is, and I have it in the other room, I get a stainless steel bolt and a stainless steel wing nut and washers that fit everything, your cage bar spacing, and then also the bolt and everything. And what I would do is I would put it right through the middle and hang it up on their cage exactly like this. I know a lot of people will put wooden beads. I sell some wooden beads. You can shove some of them in there. This, I mean, you can see right through it. I wouldn't even argue. Hold on. Let me see before I say anything here. Let's see. Because I would think that's good to be right. And I think correctly is you can also then put toy parts on this. And this is my 1/8 inch diameter paper twist rope that I sell. And you can, I don't even think I have anything. I really don't. Okay, how about this? How about this? All right. So I was going to talk about paper towel rolls. We all know and love. And with paper towel rolls, I wouldn't use toilet paper rolls because bathrooms are gross. Look it up. Or don't, spare yourself. I wish I never knew. And what we can do, you can just put things in there and twist them. I'm trying to be a little bit more original here. And I forget exactly how many you need. But we're just going to start. I don't remember how I used to do this. There's a really specific way. Probably embarrassing myself by now. I am. I'm embarrassing myself at this point. No, I'm not. I'm not. Ah, suckers. Okay. Okay. All right. So it's 3 of them. And all I did, hopefully you saw through the struggle, is I cut 3 around the same length. And I put two inside and then wiggle the third one in diagonal to hold it so it's a ball. And what I'm going to do very carefully and skillfully, gracefully, put a piece of food in there. I just put a walnut in there. And then I'm going to, ideally I'd use my drill press so it looked all nice and fancy, but we ain't got no time for fancy. We don't got fancy money, all right? We're on a budget. And just to demonstrate that you can use toy parts here, I have a lot on my website that would be absolutely perfect for this. And I'm just going to, because I have, look, you didn't even need to make a hole. I was doing extra stuff. And all I'm doing is making a little knot in the back. Super easy. Turn around. And then this one. To go ahead and come over here today. It's okay. We all struggle. A little bit of red. And with this one, I'm going to put a coin wrapper in there. And I'll put a little nut. I'll put a pine. Again, my guys really like pine nuts. And 2 pellets. Probably some safflower seeds. Gonna put it in there. And just like we do with the coin wrappers, I'm going to close the edges in when it's so. So now the bird has to chew in order to open it. Again, fold in the center, super easy. We can make this look prettier with toy parts, but we're on a budget. We're using paper towel tubes. So we're gonna go ahead and throw this one over into the abyss and move on to, I always talk about this one next. So these, I talked about, I think it was in the first one, if not the second one, these baby booties. That I was like, my mom and sister got them for my sister's baby shower with her first baby, and they were left over, and now I have them. Well, girl found them at Dollar Tree, okay? And I also found these little things next to them, which I was like, how adorable. They roll. How cute. And it moves. It's adorable. And so I was like, wow, this could really easily hold some items for us. Now I'm going back to my coin wrappers. And I wish I brought my quarter ones because I'd love to use some Nutriberries, but I don't think they fit in the nickel ones. Oh, okay. This is awesome. Look at the baby. Isn't she sweet? Oh gosh. And if you're live here, you know it's Friday evening, 7 p.m. on a Friday, and this is what I'm choosing to do with my time. I know all the bird parents out there completely understand that statement. You're just sitting there realizing, aren't I supposed to be social right now, going out and doing fun stuff? Nope, I'm sitting here setting up baby carts for my birds. And so what I'm going to do with these is we could easily hang them on a skewer. These could be loose in little toy buckets, put them on their food bowls, stuff like that. What I think I'm going to do with these, because I need to use up this string, throw this on a bucket. What girl is going to do is she is going to, hopefully these will all fit with my brilliant idea. Oops. Going to tie them all together. I'm tying them as tight as I can because I don't really want there to be a huge gap there for my birds to potentially get something stuck into. But that's why I like to use the paper twist rope, because they can easily chew the rope off without hurting themselves. In the process, I lost a coin wrapper. It's a tedious process. This was not enough rope for this assignment, but we are making it work. All right. Get back in there, baby. All right. So now I have this ball filled with these things. And what I would do is I would string this up. I would string this up. So what we're going to do is talk about the next things, right? So I like party hats. I really like party hats. And all that I do is I take off the insides, right? So now it's just a regular hat. I sell a toy. It's called Party Time. Of course, it's called Something Party. And it's on a stainless steel skewer, and there's small toy parts inside of it. And so your bird has a little party, and they open their little gift, their little hat, and then it's like a toy inside of a toy. I like these for a lot of different reasons. So the first thing that I like to do with them is I will string, how do I want to do this? I'll string one. And the paper twist rope that I sell goes right in there, right? So I'll put two right on top of each other. And what I'll do is wherever my paper went, and you can use crinkle paper with this, it's just more expensive than the brown paper. Now you can put the brown paper through a paper shredder to create some type of confetti-like paper. Just keep in mind, this has been brought up, and I've used my paper shredder a lot for my bird's toys. Some people claim that metal shards can fall off from the shredder, and then your bird can ingest it. I don't know. So just keep in mind that. Oh, and I wanted to, you guys can still hear me, right? Because I just realized that I'm on this microphone and not this one. Let me. Maybe that'll be a little bit better. I just realized that. I was like, so what I have is just some paper that I've crumpled up, and I will stuff the one. The more you stuff it, the more of a gap it creates, and the easier it is for the bird. So now we've created quite a little gap there, and I'll just pop some boys in there, right on top. And what I'm going to do with this top section is I'm going to put some dehydrated corn husks in there. So I bought corn for the birds, and I wanted to use every little bit of corn. So I put the husks and the cobs in my dehydrator and dehydrated them to create bird toys with them. So now we have even more confetti, different types of confetti, completely edible confetti on top. And that's my last Nutriberry. I hope I don't need any more. So we can do something along the lines of this. But wait, there's more. We can then put our little guy that we made through here, right? And then we can put some more party hats underneath it. Okay, hear me out. A little bit more line to do this. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead. This is gonna be the bottom of it. I'm gonna knot it. And I'm gonna add less paper down here. And no paper to the one on top. Now here's the idea. Get this off and twisted. So then we have it done. Here's the idea, okay? Here's our beautiful, beautiful toy here. Let me get it all centered so it looks neat. There you go. That's what I wanted. Perfect. Okay. So this is what I wanted. I lost some berries. Gonna put one down there. So this is our inexpensive toy. So let's talk about this and its complexities, right? So we have the edible top of the corn husk with some treats inside of it. And depending on the bird's foraging abilities, we would put it deeper within the paper hat. Same with down here. We added more paper here to create more of a gap, so it's easier for the bird to peer in and be able to get their food. If they're an expert forager, I'd maybe put a little wooden bead at the bottom in between each one, and that's it. I wouldn't put anything else, so then the bird really has to chew through in order to get the treat. Now, the little baskets that we made and we put into a circle, I put down here, and it's inside the hat slightly. So then the bird has to start to manipulate these items, which are tightly woven around a small piece of string. They have to manipulate it. Like, look at this treat right here. This treat is completely blocked. They have to swipe this up, bite it off, or chew this up in order to get the coin wrapper, and then they have to consume the coin wrapper, which is going to take so much longer. And then we have our bottom one just to kind of finalize it all. So is it beautiful? Yes. Is it equally as functional? It is very functional. So birds don't care what they look like. They just care about the activity that is being presented to them. So there we go. We have this one completed, and we'll put it back into the abyss over here. So that's quite lovely. Now, another one, and this one's already assembled. This one I kind of wanted to start with when we were over there and kind of, do it over there, but I get too ahead of myself. I get very excited. So what we have over here are these, forget what they're called, but these used to, you get our little arcade things, little 25-cent gumball machine things, were these. And I love these, and I have little pieces of wood in between them so the birds can chew it, but also to increase the complexity because you can see how chewed it is. That's the only way to open these. I had them locked, and I threw them in with Alfie. Look what he did down here. Isn't that awesome? And so he had to take his beak, and he loves that sound. And he went and he opened it that way. It slides to the side, and then he has to wiggle it down. There's just barely enough room in order to get this. This is a very, very complex foraging item. If you wanted it less complex, don't include the wood slats or include less. And what you can do is not fully close them, so that way it's easier for the bird to complete the activity and kind of get the excitement. And then you could do like a half Z and then a whole Z with closing it. But I had this one on the foraging refill list of my foraging for my birds. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw a few nuts in here. I'm just looking at the time. I don't want to keep everyone too long today, but we do have quite a few other ideas we can breeze on through. So I'm just going to actually just fill up those two. They are broken, so they do not lock anymore, which is fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and close them up. You can also fit coin wrappers in here, but again, we're going to try to throw this into the abyss and keep the train rolling. The next thing that I have over here are actually Legos. And these are just basic Legos. I keep them in this container to contain them because Legos are Legos. You can go on Facebook Marketplace and find Legos for free or very inexpensive. This was from Dollar Tree a while ago, and they're all green. And there's all different types of shapes and sizes that we can use to do a variety of things. We can start with this as foot toys, and they're pretty straightforward as foot toys. They have little holes in the bottom. I'm gonna plug a hole, and I'm gonna give this to any size of my birds, as long as you guys are okay with plastic, especially smaller plastics. What we can also do with them is build a little bit. We can make things. And make little tiny change. This is so much fun. Okay, make little tiny change. Yeah, off-brand Legos. The clicking is an aestheticizing. Wow, you really can't build with these. You can tell I don't really build with these. I usually just plug them. Okay, maybe it's like this specific one. Let's try another one. No, it's all of them. Okay. Well, if you get regular branded Legos, you'll be able to do this a lot better. But I'm gonna take a sorry excuse of a box. Okay, cool. All right. So now I've kind of created, pretend this is locked. I've created like a little box here that I can put things in. And you can even then put a lid on it. What I'm going to try to do is maybe, all right, that kind of helps. I don't know why this one isn't really locking. That kind of helps. So now I put a little bridge on the top and there is a nut right in there. So they can get it out, but it's just a little bit more challenging. And I'm going to give them to them just like this. We can also give it to them just like this. So these are little foot toys. I'm sure you can find a way to hang them. There are Lego people out there that are cringing that I have Dollar Tree Legos, but really I don't build a whole lot with them. I just kind of shove things in them. Okay, so going through my list. Now this one I got because Alfie loves these things. This was from Dollar Tree. I just got it, so I'd prefer to sanitize it before I give it to the birds because I did just get it today. But what I would do, I'll just show you real quick. We'll just get 2 coin wrappers together here. You can do this with whole nuts. I've done this in the past. And I'm just going to load a few pellets up because, again, I'm not giving this to the birds tonight. It has not been sanitized. And I prefer, this was not in any packaging or anything, so I just prefer it that way. You do you. And what they do is the little slapper hand at the very top will hold the coin wrappers or whole nuts, little slices of millet very, very well. Look how nice and neat that is. And then it comes with a little hanger. It's so convenient. It's so nice. And then they can chew the plastic if they so desire. Alfie likes to take it and slap it around. It's highly obnoxious. He loves it though. So we give him not only foraging and chewing, but auditory enrichment as well with the little slapper hands. This one I made kind of. The base was from another toy. I don't remember what toy it was like. Oh my god, like 15 years ago now. But this is bamboo. I just harvested bamboo. Now I think there are unsafe bamboos. I don't know. The ones that are around here have been fine for my birds. And all I do is I cut it, I power wash it a little bit, and then I chop it up. And what I did was I also drilled some holes into it. So just like the big PVC thing, here's a natural option. The only thing is when working with bamboo is it splits and it doesn't always work in your favor. But if it doesn't work in your favor, you can always chop it up even smaller or just throw it in your bird's cage for them to chew. My rats currently have a big piece of bamboo that they've been working on diligently, which is an excellent forager for them as well. I use a lot of the same ideas for them. I talk about them and looking at them while they're dead asleep. So I just wanted to bring this up. I'm not going to fill it up. I put some paper, some crinkle paper in here. There's one that's they never, I need to pull it out and restart this one, but they never got to this one. And so that's what it looks like. It's just some paper. There's some treats in there. You just can't see it. Gonna throw that off to the side of the abyss. So I don't get confused that one is filled up. I also have these little palm plates. And I have these because I don't have paper plates. I'm not a paper plate, paper bowl kind of gal. I feel like it's a little wasteful, especially of money. And we are on a budget this fall. So I like these little palm plates. And my mom actually cut these. Again, my sister's gender reveal for little desserts or something to go on, I think. And there were so many extra. And I like these because they're generally soft. Some of them are harder, like this one right here is quite thick. But you can still get through it just with scissors. It's super easy. I prefer these on skewers again because skewers are the best. I'm going to fill up some gears here. And the gears, you can put treats in them. And if they don't hold, if they're a smaller treat, You can put some pellets in between to kind of close the link gaps and hold it in place. I would put a pellet in, and then I put the treat in, and then I put another pellet in right on the other side. But for my guys, these gears are very easy for them. And how I'm setting it up in this foraging idea, it's going to be too easy for them to have treats within that. So again, I'm starting at the bottom here, just trying to, actually, we have 4. I'm going to double one to show an idea, so it's not going to look the prettiest. The most even and elegant and blah, blah, blah that we all strive for. But that's okay because, again, our birds do not care. And for me, I always do 4 finger lengths when I go to cut my string because that gives me enough to cut it and a little bit extra. So if you ever see that, I'm measuring. And I left a little bit so a link can go through it. And I can, if I had any more whole nuts or nutriberries or something like that, I just put them right through. But I'm going to put some safflower seeds in with some pellets here. And because we have these 2 stacked together, I can put them in between there. This works with paper plates and bowls and everything like that. And then we have some gears. We can even just put pellets and make this the bowl for the day. Isn't that lovely? You could put your birds' whole meals in here. You can even do their fresh food in here because we would then be tossing it by the end of it. But I'm on a budget here. I prefer to put just their dry food in there unless I know they're the type of bird that's going to destroy this within the day, like Alfie and Merlin, Jojo and Ringo. They will destroy this within the day. So I would put fresh food in there for them if it came to that. But this is another nice and easy idea, little palm leaf plates or paper plates, paper bowls, etc. This is just what I have on hand. I won't buy any paper products like that. Off into the abyss. We're going to keep on rock and rolling at Dollar Tree. And I couldn't find new ones. I know they have them. These are usually in the goodie box section. They're little Lego containers. Mine are very abused. And I love these things. They're so nice and easy. You can drill holes into them very easily and string them up. But what I like to do is just put a little treat inside of there and close it up. And I'll put this within another foraging and activity. I'll put this just within their bowls like this. To start them, I'd leave it open and then I'd kind of not lock it all the way, but close it like this, and then I would lock it. It's very easy to open. My Conyers and my Myers parrot can open this, no problem. But if you are Crazy Bird, and he loves these. Crazy Bird, I keep these on hand for him. Actually, because I'm making this for him, I'm going to use his favorite treat, which is walnut. So I have a walnut here that I just put in there. And so I'm going to close it. And then I'm going to take a zip tie, a zippy dippy, and I'm going to zippity doodah this shut. If I have the right size zippity dippity, it should click. I don't think I have the right zippies. No. Oh, I do. Okay. Click. I thought it did. It should really only click once on the 8-inch zip ties. It really should only click once. But now, increasing complexity, he has to chew this off. He can't push it off because of the grooves on here. And then he has to open it and consume it. So that makes it a little bit more complex. These do stack when there's not a zip tie in between them. So that could be something that is quite interesting for you to play around with. And again, don't forget, you can drill holes into them and put them on a skewer as well. Speaking of holes and skewers I don't have, I go through a lot of medicine bottles and my animals go through a lot of medicine bottles. We are equally guilty. I have a lot of chronic illnesses. I have a history of traumatic brain injuries and stuff. And so we got a lot going on in this house. We have 16 animals. Majority of them are special needs medically. A lot, the ones that aren't are also special needs behaviorally, except for if you're Jacob. Jacob, I think, is like perfect. My rat, my one rat, I haven't found a flaw in him yet. Um, and so what I'll do is I will drill some holes into the bottles. I'll sanitize them, clean them. You can tell this one has been sanitized because the F10 takes off any of the writing that's on the label. And I will string these up, and there's a variety of ways that I can use this. So let me just string them up here. And I chose to drill them through the sides like this. You can drill them just through the bottom and they hang vertically, but because these are quite big bottles, as well as I have the PVC cups, and I would have to adjust my drill press, first world problems, went through the side of them. So here's the thing. This one, super, super long, but it's clear. You can see through it. So if I have, really probably should have just brought more berries and just used them this whole time. If I had millet strands, or here we have yet another one filled with pellets and safflower seeds, I can put this in here for my bird, and my bird can see, oh, there's the coin wrapper, and when paired, the bird knows coin wrapper means there's always food inside. Now, the opaque ones, they can be a little bit more challenging because they are opaque, but they're also a little bit, no, they are a little bit larger in diameter. They're shorter. So although you can't see inside of it, it's also a little bit easier because it's not as long as this. If I really wanted to challenge my bird, I'd do this. And what I would also do is put some paper in there, right? So now they have to remove the paper and then figure out how to weasel this out from the other end. I don't know how well you can see that. Oh yeah, you can definitely see that. The phone screen's so small. And so with the other two sides, what I'm going to do is, oh, you've got to be kidding me. How perfect. All right, let's see if we can cut this with scissors. I don't know if we can. I don't think, oh, we can. A little bit there. All right, so what I'm going to do with this side is, oh, no. What I'm going to do with this side is I'm going to put a few pine nuts in this. This is I think a magnolia tree pod, seed pod thing. I just put it in the oven to sanitize it. I'm going to do that. And I'm also going to do a coin wrapper that has pine nuts in it. It holds nuts very, very, very well. And I'm going to put a little extra few nuts in there. And so what I'm going to do to increase the complexity, I'm going to put the coin wrapper inside this one. And I'm going to stuff the top with this and really push it in there. There we go. That's what I want. Look how pretty that is. And so there are some nuts on the outside, but there's stuff on the inside that the bird can then discover. On the bottom here, I'm just going to make it really, really easy. And I'm going to put nothing in it because a toy doesn't always have to be filled with stuff. And there's not a guarantee of food. And so I can hang it like this, but I want to increase the complexity just a little bit, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to take a brown paper bag and put a hole in the bottom probably. And probably a little bit too big of a hole. I'm going to put this inside here. See how we're going to do this. Put this inside here. What I want. Oh, perfect. We actually did not need the hole. Just like this. I'm going to hang this just like this. So now we're increasing the complexity and the longevity of the assignment. We are tearing through the paper bag. And then we get to bottles. And we have to pull the paper out of the bottle and get the coin wrapper out of that center one. We have to get our treats out of the magnolia tree pot. I think that's what it is. I can't remember off the top of my head. And then we have to chew it or pull it out. And then there's more treats inside that one. And then the other one. there's nothing. There's just paper, right? So now we hang it up like this for our bird to go. And this is like their school lunch. It's like a little lunch box that you can give to them before you go to work. And this is going to take them so much longer than if you just did these items independently. But if you're just starting out and your bird's foraging skills not there, you will need to start with them independently. And because we have quite a few here, we can spread them out around their cage, especially if we're using the paper twist rope or if we're using the zippy dippies. Into the abyss. We're getting through it. I talked about, I feel like on one of these, pine cones and my love for them. And I really do love pine cones. I'll just gather the pine cones and I bake them in the oven at like 200 for like 20 or 30 minutes or so. You really want to bake it until all the sap is off of them. I tried the first time I did these online, it said like rinse them and soak them before to like clean off any debris. And what happened is they closed up and it took forever to bake them off and the sap like would not come off. It was like a totally fail. So the other times beyond that, I've cleared any debris that I can see. And what I would do is bake it. A lot of stuff did bake off, like just burned up, which is great. But whatever didn't, it's technically sanitized, right? So I was like, are we going to be too picky about this? And what you can do is you can do an equal part water and all-purpose flour, and you want it to be a kind of thicker paste. So it may not be technically equal, but you want it to be as close to as possible. And you can drizzle that along the pine cone, and the pieces of food will stick to it. And then what you can do from there is you can wait for it to dry, and then it sticks and stays. You can put it in their food bowls, other foraging bowls. You can find a way to hang this. I don't know how to hang pine cones, to be quite honest, but I'm sure if you just took some of the paper twist rope and wrapped it around like that, it'd be perfectly fine. That just takes a little bit too long for my taste. So I don't do stuff like that. Another thing that you can do, and we're kind of running out of time, so I'm going to breeze through stuff like this, is obviously I got these at Christmas time. These are little goodie bags. And what these, I'll open these real quick because these, I specifically chose these out of all the goodie bags I still have. Because these come with plastic right here, and we don't want that. So all I do is I go into the inside and I just find a corner with my thumb and I just rip it off and throw it away into the other abyss. And so now we have a cute little treat box. And this one was really interesting to me because of the hole that it left. And it could easily be started for birds who don't have skills, who are building their skills. So I just said I'm not going to set them up, but now I feel like I need to. But I'm going to make it really simple. This girl doesn't, girl's in a rush. Girl doesn't have time. I got a few safflower seeds fall out. I can zip tie this. I can leave it as is. And throw it in a toy box or anything like that. Look how nice. And then they can just pull things. It's not the best visual example. Let's pretend it's pretty. And look, there's a pellet waiting for the bird. All right, so that can be something that you can look into. Dollar Tree had those. Some Christmas ago. The last thing I want to talk about, and we really don't have time for examples, but they're pretty straightforward, are drink holders. My mom, she gives me a lot of these. I have questions, Mom. I don't think she watches these, but Mom, I have questions. Why do you always have so many? Her and my sister work together. That we have a family business, flooring business, and I think they like go to the McDonald's on the street and get some drinks for everyone, or maybe lunch or something. So she has a lot of these always, and she gives them to me. As long as they don't have anything spilled and they're nice and clean, I'm happy to use them with my guys. I'll use them in a variety of ways. We are completely out of paper. So first and foremost, Crazy Bird loves these. I just throw them in his cage, just like this. I do 2 at a time. There we go. Have fun. And I'll even just hang them like that as well. Super, super easy. But what I will do, and I'm just gonna, they're stuck together. I'm gonna give Crazy Bird that tomorrow. What I can do is I still have some corn husks that I definitely want to use because these have just been kind of forgot about them for a second there. So I want to use these up, and I'm going to show you guys really quick an example of what we could do here. And in this one, we're just going to put a few other bits and bobs. Bits and bobs. Alrighty. So I gotta kind of hunker down here. We're gonna keep dropping everything because that's what we do here. I'm just gonna take 2 and I'm gonna put just nuts in these. 2, 3. There we go. And then there's a few ways you can do this, but my own personal way that I like is I'm gonna fold it in half, just like so. And I'm gonna take my scissors and I'm gonna do a little stabby through it. Grab a zippy dippy. Just like this. So easy. If your bird needs to build on the complexity, you can rip out some of these bottoms for them. Just tear aside here. Just tear aside, and that would be easier for them to access. You can try to leave it a little bit more loose with the zip tie, but just remember that once when it is chewed, however the zip tie stands, so they might get caught in it as a potential hazard to keep in mind. My birds have never, but it, it's always a worry. And you can also kind of use more paper to keep it open a bit more, right? So we can build the complexity in a lot of different ways. We can leave it flat like Crazy Bird. We didn't have to fold this. We could have put one on top of the other, right? We could have done something like that. So of course, I think everyone, and egg cartons. I don't really like eggs personally, so I don't have any eggs right now with the carton. But anytime I buy eggs, I buy cardboard cartons. I don't buy the ones in the plastic or anything because then I sit there and I'm like, how am I going to use this, right? And I'm on a budget. I have a lot of animals. I have animals staring at me right now that are going to get some of this trash enrichment as well. So I'm going to hop on over to the other one and sign us off. All right, so I'm going to remake me the host here, replace the pin, hey, and I want to make me the host. I can't do that. That's okay. We don't need to be the host. Okay, so there's some ideas. We have ideas. We are doing things. We're doing great things, right? So I want to talk about the next week topic and then also talk about the shopping list. Now, the shopping list, like we talk about every week, it is optional. It's just things that if you'd like to be live with us to prepare, it's things that you can do. So next week is implementing enrichment in your schedule, right? So this one is going to be more of a discussion. I'll likely have a slideshow posted. Hold on one second. Let me see if Roxy can see me. Okay, enough. Roxy is deaf and almost blind, so hand signals. That's my be quiet cue. So we're going to be talking about how to implement this better into your life and into your schedule. So if you have any questions or specific schedule things that you want to discuss, like specific quirks or anything like that, just add it either in the email threads that I send or through the website, the main page for Enriching Evenings. There's a form that you can contact that you can add stuff to and reach me directly that way so I can cover things. I can cover your individual ideas and questions a lot better and continue to guide the conversation so it is useful for the viewers who are here, and I'm so appreciative of those who are here. So shopping list wise, I think the best thing that we could do shopping list wise to prepare for next time is I would sit down and kind of map out your schedule generally, right? So I want you to kind of do a Monday through Sunday and kind of be like, I leave from work at 8 a.m. and I get home at 5:30 p.m., and then I have to, feed myself for the dogs. I take an hour for lunch, for dinner or whatever. And I want you to kind of outline it. Of course, every day and every week is a little different, especially our weekends. So that can be a little bit more challenging, but try to find specific gaps where you can add in things or do while doing other activities. So then when you come here and I give some ideas, you can look at your schedule that you have and you could be like, oh my God, like I could fit that in here. That's an excellent idea. So we'll go ahead and talk about kind of fitting it into your schedule and prioritizing it a little bit better next week. And I hope to see you guys there. I appreciate your support and coming to these free weekly classes all about different enrichment ideas. I appreciate the patience of getting everything kind of settled and finalized throughout this process. This is, I think, only our third episode, which is awesome that we're still here and we're still chugging along and we're still gaining participants every single week. So I appreciate everything. It'll just continue to get up from here. I'm very passionate about enrichment and ideas and sharing them and continuing education for people. So it's starting to get dark outside. I need to let my dogs out. I need to let some clients' dogs out. So I have to go, but I'll see you guys next week. Just keep in mind, when is it next week? If you want to come live, it would be Monday, July 14th. So it's only a couple of days away. I wanted to give a Monday night in there. So go ahead and prepare for that. I'll see you guys Monday or in the next video if you're watching the recording. See you guys.